I'm regional media film critic Sean Patrick with a review of Septembers of Shiraz, starring Salma Hayek and Adrian Brody. A pair of Academy Award nominees and fine actors for the most part, although Adrian Brody can be very, very questionable at times. Septembers of Shiraz is based on a best-selling novel that the director, Wayne Blair, had promised wouldn't be Hollywoodized when he was offered the opportunity to direct this film. The book was taken out to Marketplace, and the author had hoped that it wouldn't end up, quote, Hollywoodized. And the director promised it wouldn't end up Hollywoodized. And then, instead of casting Iranian actors in an Iranian story, they cast Salma Hayek from Mexico and Adrian Brody from Brooklyn. And now, you can't necessarily call it whitewashing since Salma Hayek isn't white, but Adrian Brody most certainly is. He's an actor of Hungarian descent, but like I said, he was born in Brooklyn, and about authentically Iraqi as I am. Iranian, sorry, I apologize. Again, I don't mean, there I go sounding foolish, but nevertheless, that's about how foolish this film comes off. We've got this ridiculous accent that Salma Hayek is attempting, I guess, to be Iranian, although for the first several minutes of the movie I was more fascinated by the idea of how a Mexican woman ended up in Iran. Far more interesting story than what is being told here, even though we're told this is based on a true story. It's set in 1979 in Shiraz, in Iran, where the fall of the Shah, we were just in the shadow of the fall of the Shah in 1979, and the rich are being taken down by the poor, who are, of course, followers of Khomeini. They're essentially seeing all rich people as corrupt. Adrian Brody is the star here, and his family is a wealthy Jewish family in the diamond business in Iran until Brody's character is taken hostage. His assets are essentially stolen, although they leave him his bank account for whatever reason. Some things held up, I guess, during the Iranian Revolution, such as, I guess, banking law apparently held up. He's able to buy his way out of a prison eventually in the story, but this movie is so facile and so empty in its presentation of this very, very dramatic story that, again, is based on a true story. We can't let that get by. This is based on a true story, but it could be a number of different true stories. It doesn't have to necessarily be this family that was actually a subject of this story. It's based on a number of true stories. There were a number of people in Iran who lost everything in 1979 with the rise of the militant Islam in that country. And indeed, there were riots, and indeed, there were people who had rich people, essentially, who were not unquestionably persecuted, hunted down, robbed, and considered co-conspirators of the Shah by those who opposed the Shah. And it's horrible and it's awful, and there are, I'm sure, documentaries out there that can probably educate you far more than anything you see in Septembers of Shiraz, which is renders the whole thing, I don't want to call it silly, but certainly it doesn't treat it with the respect that it deserves. It's too busy being a saccharine melodrama, and rather than delivering the actual drama of this real life situation. This is a very disappointing movie. It's not very well directed. The acting is stilted. The dialogue is incredibly stilted as they burn one straw man argument after another in terms of what the revolution was really about. It's really just an outright irritating movie at times, and certainly not one I could recommend. If you want to see Septembers of Shiraz for either Salma Hayek or Adrian Brody, though I can't imagine what appeal this would have. It's available in theaters and on demand beginning June 24th. I'm Sean Patrick.